Hey, sorry about that.
Hey.
Sup? Saw Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I wasn't annoyed by it. That's all I wanted, was to not be really annoyed by it.
It's all you could ever ask for in a movie nowadays.
Hear me?
Huh? I was filming a Verizon commercial over there. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh god, that's unhuman and intelligent.
Emma's gonna be needing, like, Microsoft Sam to dictate for her by the end of this. My name is Quinn Sand. I am from Dorne.
Push to talk or go home.
Your cabin's right by the stables?
Yeah, so there's like the stables and the kennels, and it's some attached room to one of those buildings. Absolutely nothing fancy.
Noting that everyone was otherwise occupied, I discreetly decide that now would be a good time to go visit my horse.
As you enter the stables, on the door on the opposite side, Tom Stone, you see him standing there, leaning up against the wall, and he is lighting a pipe, and he asks, "You want a puff, girl?"
Oh, I'm not sure if I should. I don't think the proper ladies of Westeros smoke pipes.
Well, I'm not much for anything proper.
What are you smoking?
It's just a pipe weed that I grow in the yard out back. It'll heat your breath and your mind.
I guess I'll try a taste. Couldn't harm.
Alright,
No, we're just gonna smoke together outside the stable.
Just having the Westerosi equivalent of just say no, like... Cyrus rolls, Quinn, what are you doing? Look at me with your bloodshot eyes and say that.
In 90 sitcoms, it's always a single joint in a Ziploc bag. Where did you get this? It was my friend's. I just am holding it.
I learned it from watching you.
I got it from Edric. Just throw Edric under the bus.
Maybe you should ask where your son is.
And tell him to keep his hands to himself.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna lose that hand next time.
Alright, anyway, yeah, so I kind of pass the pipe down, say I light it and get it going, and just pass it down that you can puff on it with it still kind of going. And I say, "You did well out there, girl. Where'd you learn to shoot a bow like that?"
Oh, around. It's pretty commonplace in Dorne. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's very weird being here with these Westeros ladies.
Yeah, there's a different like in Dorne. I've been. That's where my dog's from.
I noticed your dog. I haven't seen any of its like since entering Westeros.
I was on a hunt by myself, got stranded out in the deserts there. I would have died, but the dog found me, showed me to a watering hole. I've been with her ever since.
That's quite a story. What were you hunting out in Dorne?
Great cats, mostly. Every lark that's found in the sands.
You traveled a great many miles just for a hunt.
Well, I've hunted all over Westeros. Every kind of animal that I can come across that's worthy.
Oh, what constitutes a worthy animal in your eyes?
One that could win if it was given a chance.
That would happen in the desert in Dorne?
No, the desert is what almost won, if it wasn't for my dog.
Yes, I've spent quite a night in those deserts. They can be the love of your life, or the dagger at your throat.
Yeah, I will give it that. It was a beautiful sight.
So, how long have you been here at House Highmount? I must admit, I don't know too much about it. I feel like a bit of an outsider.
Well, I'm an outsider too. I've been here 3 years. The Lord's warmed up to me enough, but his son never gets off my back, and your father whenever he's around. I warn you, girl. I like your company, but you perhaps should stay away. Your father doesn't like me very much.
Well, I'm simply out at the stables to visit my horse, see how he's doing. It was a long ride up from Dorne, and he's not exactly used to this climate.
All this altitude. We're a lot higher up than the dunes.
Exactly. I'm simply concerned for his well-being. We've been together through a lot. My uncle gave him to me. We've gone everywhere ever since, all through Dorne. Just a harmless conversation. You happen to be out here.
Alright, well, we'll keep it harmless enough then.
What exactly does your job entail here at House Highmount?
Well, when I was hired, it was to train the hounds, to breed the hounds, and to do the hunt. But as you can see, I end up doing a lot more than that. I've killed quite a few people for House Highmount, and it wasn't in the job description.
I couldn't imagine being at a house and having that responsibility suddenly thrust upon me.
Well, your father's a Castellan, and he's always out, and the Master of Guards is an old man. I think the Lord just likes things being done quick and clean.
Yes, I understand entirely. What is this Lord Aldrin like? I haven't really spent any time with him, not since, the banquet, right when we arrived, but I haven't had so much as a conversation with him since my arrival.
I don't like most people, but the Lord, he's a good man. He has more honor in him than anyone I've ever met, really. Can't say the same about his son.
Yes, I can see that, but he's just a young boy, no?
A boy like that, he's so entitled. It's dangerous.
Would not be the father. Excuse my boldness. As I said, I haven't even met the man. Maybe it's not my place to say.
I don't know what happened, how he can be so much different from his dad, but just look at how he treats you. Calls you brown girl. Quinn? It's a beautiful name, not very hard to remember.
Well, I think he likes to make the distinction. You know how young men can be.
And calls me bastard enough, as does your dad.
Yes, I noticed that as well. But you were born here.
Well, that is what the name would mean, wouldn't it?
I'd assume so, but I suppose I should have Stone, and yet I am a Sand.
Well, Stone's the name I've taken. It seems to suit here. Maybe one day I'll take another.
Tom takes another big long hit from his pipe and stares Quinn deep in the eyes.
A situation was mentioned. I guess I've heard talk of it. Someone was injured, or there was some situation where displeased with the way you behaved in the matter.
Today or the situation before you got here? They weren't very pleased with me today either.
The situation where I got here, I'm just trying to get my bearings a little, It's strange having people talk around me without being aware of the context of the situation.
Well, someone attacked the house, right? So your father and the Lord, they're naturally very upset about it. And since he's not around for them to take their anger out on, it falls on me. Don't take it too personally. You want to know about who the man was and how he died?
If it's not too frightful for a lady.
Well, I don't really care if it's too frightful for you. If you're grown up enough to kill a man with a bow, you should be grown up enough to hear about tales of one dying.
I guess I won't call you Mr. Stone.
You can call me Tom.
Tom, I'm not sure how you've taken measure of me. I'm not sure if I like this view you have.
What do you mean, casual? I get in trouble for treating everyone casually, as you've seen.
No, that's not what I mean at all. That you seem to think of me as a hardened warrior. I'm nothing more than a maiden who happens to be good with a bow.
Yeah, but you used it. You didn't freeze up. The lordling can't even say that. You see, when he went and ran by the dogs, and then he ordered me to send them in to die, and then was upset that I didn't send my own dog to die. He was a coward in there. After all his years of training by guardsmen, you didn't hesitate. You let every arrow fly.
Well, I've seen what happens when people hesitate, but it's hard for someone who hasn't been in combat before. I've been in combat before. It is different every time. Going into it, I always believe that I'll be prepared, but you never really know, do you?
What battles have you seen before, girl? What other experience you got with blood?
Oh, just this and that, raids, minor skirmishes in Dorne, nothing of this magnitude, mostly from safety or from distances, the walls of a keep, perhaps.
That's my favorite part of an arrow. You stay farther than an arm's length and take him down.
Yes, exactly.
Did you make your bow yourself?
Did, with help from my uncle.
I like it. Double curved design.
Yes, very Dornish. Maybe not quite suited for here.
Oh, well, it seems to suit enough. If you ever need any arrows or help repairing it, you come by.
I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you, Tom.
Or if you can get permission for your dad, we could even go out on a hunt. Test that bow against some deer.
I would like that. I haven't had a chance to hunt in any northern lands ever.
You want to know how that bastard died?
Oh, yes. If you're up to tell the tale, I suppose.
You've heard of Glenshire, the master of coin?
Once or twice. I haven't met him yet, though.
Well, sometimes he has to go in to town, one of the inns for business, and I've gone with him as escort. One of the last times we went, he was checking up on a local tavern, where they have some girls in back, ladies of the night.
Yes.
But they were all dead, quite brutally dead.
I'm sorry to hear that tale.
We tracked the man. It was this red bastard. I had to fight him alone, because Glenshire's pretty useless at that. He almost lost his life. Why I'm in trouble is because I didn't go through the trouble of bringing that man back alive. You've been in battle, as you say, and in battle, sometimes that's not an option that you have. I was alone. Even if I could have taken him alive, what was I supposed to do? I had to ride back to the house myself to raise the maester. If I had put him in the cabin with what? Glenshire and the tavern keeper, and then what happens if he rouses himself and finds a knife? I had to kill him. They weren't there, and I would have killed him anyway, because of what he did to those girls, for almost killing my dog and taking its ear. The man deserved to die. I got all the information out of him that he was going to give, and I took him out, and it's as simple as that.
That seems reasonable to me. That's typically how things are handled in Dorne, I must say. We don't have quite the class, I guess, of up here in the north.
Yeah, all that trouble for what? They'll torture him for a bit, they'll feel like it stains their honor, and then they'll kill him in some public way? There's much cleaner ways to deal with things like this.
Perhaps they wanted to put him on trial or produce any further information from him.
Well, they got his body. I don't know what's going on. You'd think that they'd send his body into King's Landing. Demand something against House Crag. The fact that they didn't do that must mean that House Crag feels like they have a reason to attack our house. Which means that there's something our house is hiding. Or else, why wouldn't the king know by now?
Yes, I see your point.
But I like to wonder about these sorts of things, but I respect it's not really my business. I'll just get my job done.
Oh, yes, I mean, I suppose that is what you're being paid for here, and if you have no other sort of allegiance to them or feelings of...
I'm loyal to the house, don't get me wrong, but because I feel like I'm not a slave, or that I'm not like a sworn member of the guard, that I didn't swear my loyalty, I'll give it. And if anything, that should be worth more. The fact that I've been willing to kill men for this house, it should mean to them more than someone that does it because he's done an oath to do it.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Perhaps that might be something for me to watch out for.
Yeah, keep your eye out, girl, and keep your eye out for that Edric boy. I don't think he's ever had a girl before, let alone one that looks like you living in his house.
Don't worry, there are men like him in Dorne. That is definitely one thing I am used to.
Can I ask you a question? It's personal.
I suppose.
Do you have poison? It's a effective tool on dipped in weapons like spears and arrows common in Dorne.
No, what would a girl like me be doing with something like that?
Well, you got a Dornish bow. I was wondering how far your Dornish arsenal goes.
I'm not entirely sure about a tool like that. I prefer to be more upfront.
I see. Hey, Ian.
Yep.
Should we do any sort of rolls?
Yeah, I was gonna want to do like a charming roll. I just rolled it, and there's no one, so perfect. And 21.
That's to charm him?
Yeah, 21.
Alright, am I charmed? Was I successfully charmed?
Oh yeah, you're charmed.
Oh, cool. Do I get a chance to try to roll to charm her with my drugs?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that you've got just as likely a chance having talked to her to do the same.
Really? I giggled, and I'm female.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm all gruff and mysterious.
I said he could try.
I have terrible persuasion. I'm marked, and although I don't have negatives for being a bastard. What, do I roll persuasion?
Give me a second, I just gotta grab the rule book.
Give me a second.
How pissed off at us, making it so complicated. Can I have my disposition towards someone go down just by things done in the game, or does it have to be an actual...
No, you can absolutely adjust it manually based on, like, RP in the game itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just have to explain yourself.
This has to be justified.
If your cousin, like, rubs your back, you can, like, make it go up or down.
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly.
You can go to amiable or just like on your own whim. Every part of that character is so Game of Thrones. I'm very proud of Ryder.
But who knows? You know, maybe just like Game of Thrones, Ryder's character is going to wind up being a really good guy.
Yeah, I know. It could either be he starts like shooting prostitutes with the crossbow, or it could be he's like Jaime Lannister in the hot tub being like, "My name's Edric," whatever.
Call me Edric.
So can I roll a persuasion?
Yeah, roll persuasion.
With no negative for bastardness, but re-rolling sixes.
Obviously, yeah. Reroll sixes.
Huh, it equals 6.
Sorry, Emma's not charmed.
Nope, to be expected, Tom's a weirdo. He's a weirdo with a weird scar on his face, and he wears a mask.
I love that your pictures of Wolverine.
Oh yeah, it's definitely played by Hugh Jackman. Tom Stone in the movie is played by Hugh Jackman in his Aurora mask.
Alright, you guys can carry on with your RP.
Yeah, so Tom Stone says, "You think you could put a good word in for your father for me? With him back and with Edric always on my ass, I'm worried about my place here. I'll tell you this, if the Lord was to die tomorrow, I'd pack up and leave. I wouldn't live here if Edric was my lord."
Where would you go? I don't know these lands very well, I must admit.
Well, I've been at this house almost my whole time been in the Vale. If I ever left here, I'd probably leave the Vale altogether. I've never been to the north.
Couldn't imagine going anywhere so cold. How many years were you in my fair country?
Almost a couple.
Almost a couple. Possible for me to roll to detect any sort of accent, Ian? Like if I wanted to see if I could figure out like a...
Yeah, just a general knowledge test. 7, eh?
You determine that his accent is super duper made up. He's actually the salesman from Resident Evil.
It's an accent. He sounds like a man. Like, he sounds like a bastard, basically. Yeah, nothing really jumps out at you.
Like some gruff guy.
Okay.
He sounds like he's from the Vale.
Okay. Where were you in Dorne? I'm just curious. It seems like it's been so long that I've had a chance to talk about my homeland.
I gotta fucking open up my my background document.
I was drunk in Old Town in the Reach. Heard about some work in the ports of Dorne. We docked at Starfall, Salt Shore, Planket Town, Stepstones. When the work dried up, I went inland. Tried my luck at hunting in the dunes.
Work at sea? How interesting. Oh, I've never met someone who'd work at sea. What kind of work is there? Giggle, giggle, giggle.
You're going for another charm test.
I am actually going to roll for it.
You're not getting another charm test.
It's not that romantic, yeah. You just get really wet. There's a lot of nets. It was just a deckhand. Some of the work was shipping. Some of the work was hauling up fish nets. It was really wet and boring, and there aren't enough women, and there aren't enough animals. It's horrid. Not romantic at all. Think of ships as a nice thing to take you to somewhere else that's beautiful.
I do. Trust me, I'd love to travel more.
I've been all around Westeros, but I've always wanted to go to the Free Cities. And like I said, I've never been north. There's probably great stags in Winterfell.
I've heard that, and those dire wolves of legend.
Oh, don't even get me started. If I was hunting, imagine going north of the wall. The things you'd find up there.
Might be a little too frightful for me, I suppose.
I wouldn't sell yourself so short. You're tall enough.
You would really leave this fine house?
Well, it's not my house.
Of course. How did you meet Lord Alden?
I was just traveling through, and I had a pack of hounds and some game that I got. I traded some hounds and the meat to the house, and I did that a few times, and they had an opening, they hired me on.
And when did you meet my father?
Around the same time. He's in and out. He travels away to Turney and to Dorne.
Ah, yes, to Dorne. Has he always been so dislikeful of you, distrustful? This doesn't happen in Dorne. You must excuse me. I feel almost like a poor country girl coming to the big city.
You don't have to excuse yourself. It's them that should be excusing themselves. I don't think your father means it. I think it's overcompensating. You know, House Highmount, it was a disgraced name a few generations ago. Alden seems to try to make up for it by being as noble as possible. Try to get the seven on his side. Your father seems to just try to get over it by being prim and proper, not doing anything wrong. To him, bastards, I'm sorry, are wrong.
I completely understand, I guess. Seems as though he is an honorable man. When he showed up in Dorne, I must be honest, I didn't really know what to make of him, and I guess I still don't. You mentioned that House Highmount had been a disgraced name. Why is that? I must show my ignorance. I do not know much about House.
If you want the full story, I recommend asking the Maester. He won't think it's suspicious. He'll run his mouth off on any sort of tale that you give him the go on. It was something a few lords ago. Someone chose the wrong king. It's what it always is.
Oh, of course. I know all about the rebellion, of course, and I don't like to get involved in politics too much, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither.
But the Maester, you say?
Maester Gregory, he'll run his mouth off on any piece of history you give him the go. Bloody annoying.
Perhaps I will look into that avenue. Thank you so much. What else is there about House Highmount? I guess I just feel like there's no one else really to talk to around, and I'm so curious, you know?
Well, I'm the huntsman and kennel master. Someone else looks after the horses, but I'll come in here and lend a hand. There's stable boys. There's Edric, but like I've said, you should keep away from him.
Oh, I think he's just a harmless flirt.
He doesn't have much experience with a girl, so he's going to be a little too overexcited, cousin or not.
Don't you worry about him.
But like I said, there's good hunting in these woods. If you can get permission from your father, I'll take you out.
Perhaps I shall do that. I'm sure there are a great many things you could teach me.
Tombstone starts to pack another ball.
Sam's character now has mouth cancer.
She rolled and got mouth cancer. Damn.
I think that might be enough for me this evening. I should get inside before my father is missing me.
Maybe that's best. I wouldn't want you to get in trouble, girl.
That's very sweet of you, Tom. I hope that my horse will be well cared for in your hands. It brings me great comfort to know that you have spent some time in Dorne and might know a little of their animals and...
Yeah, I ain't the stable master, but I'm in through here a lot, so I'll keep an eye out for it.
Thank you, that brings me great comfort. I suppose I'll be seeing you around. I will speak to my father and perhaps Lord Aldrin as well about the hunting.
And like I said, try to put in a good word. Worried about my position here, now that two people with power that don't like me are around.
I'm sure you don't have too much to worry about.
Well, you can never be too careful, like you said, when politics are involved.
Of course, it is true. Again, this is why I tend to stay out of them. They're not a very womanly pursuit.
Yeah, and I should offer my cheek up to more slaps, I bet.
Well, you know how nobles are. Well, I hope you have a pleasant evening, Tom.
You too, my lady. And Tom nods.
And inhales another big puff.
I just sort of turn the nod and saunter back to the castle.
Good sessions. Liking these RP side sessions.
That's a good change of pace.
Yeah, good woman.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna take off then, guys, if we think we're wrapped up here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright, good work.
Have a good one, guys.